Ole Miss and Alabama. We got Alabama 7-point home favorites, 55-56 the total in this game. For me, it's Ole Miss or nothing. I'm not like Alabama to me. I mean, the loss to Texas. Now, that granted, Texas pretty good football team this year. But what is there out there to explain last week for Alabama? 17 points on the road against South Florida. You know, a South Florida team that I think gave up like 50-something to Western Kentucky, earlier this season. Like, there's real problems for Alabama's offense. And they had a players meeting after that game. I mean, Nick Saban's already had enough of Milroe because somehow Milroe doesn't even get into that game against South Florida.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what you got to believe, that they've already just had enough of him right now here at Alabama. And then the two stiffs that were in there, you talk about Notre Dame. You know why Sam Hartman was brought in by Notre Dame? Because those two guys couldn't play last year, Buckner and Pine. They were awful for Notre Dame. And sure enough, Pine's stinking up the joint at ASU, and Buckner's stinking up the joint now here at Alabama. Look at his numbers last week. Terrible. 5 for 14, 34 yards. South Florida's defense, 5 for 14, 34 yards passing. Ty Simpson, not much better. 5 for 9, 73 yards passing in that game. They're very fortunate they were able to run the ball with Roydell Williams and Jason McClellan. That's what kept them afloat offensively at all. But only 2 first downs more than South Florida. I mean, in terms of total yardage, only a plus, 50 or 60 yard edge in that game. Alabama's got problems, man. I'll be damned if I'm laying 7 with them in this game against Ole Miss. The one hesitancy I have to take Ole Miss, the injury situation. Because they were a really banged up football team last week against Georgia Tech, even though they still ended up getting the win and cover. Trey Harris was as injured. Zachary Franklin, another great receiver, injured. Jalen Knox, we'll see if he's back. Just it goes on and on. Quinshaw Junkins, who I believe is back this week for Ole Miss at running back. But they got a lot of cluster injuries at receiver. Let's see if they get a little healthier for this game. But, yeah, it's Ole Miss. It's Lane Kiffin or nothing here with what I've seen from Bama the last 2 weeks on offense. The offense is damn near broken, and I don't know if Nick's going to be able to solve it because right now he's got 3 quarterbacks and none of them can play. That's what I see. What do you think here, Con?
Yeah, there's just right now there's no real option. I don't know what with any of them. I mean, you got to go with one. Is it Buckner, I guess? None of them did better. Simpsons, they're going to have to run it here, and I think they can.
Bart Simpson could complete more passes than
yeah. Bring Bart out. Alabama should be able to run it on Ole Miss. You talked about the injuries. Hopefully they'll get Harris back and Junkins in this game. I think Jackson Dart will have success in this one. And it's not Alabama's offense who were thinking they were really good, because I think this Ole Miss defense still has flaws. I don't think they're there yet. I think you give up points in this game. But I don't know how Alabama does it. So unless you talked about the meeting and Saban pulls a rabbit out of his hat, I can't look at Alabama right now. I just can't do it. I think there could be some points in this game. So I lean over, but that's just an initial lean.
Yeah, Ole Miss points. I don't know about Alabama. Well, although Ole Miss has had some defensive vulnerabilities at times, I just don't know. This offensive and quarterback situation for Alabama, it's as rough as I've ever seen it for us.
Oh, yeah.
I think this could be the season, based on the reports and the rumblings. This is the season that could be Nick Saban's final season as head coach at Alabama. I'm reading some strong rumblings. He's retiring, after this season. So to be going out like this,
he's not a young guy.
Yeah. No. And you know what's funny, after the Texas loss, and this kind of tells me that there's something to that, where there's smoke, there's fire. He might be retiring, because you look at the press conference after they lost to Texas. Usually when Alabama loses, he's a little pissed off, a little, surly with the media. And he's just like, no, they played pretty good. We just learn some things and find out what we're like. It was just so calm.
I think he's just wore out.
I think he's worn out too. I think all the miles, all the years, and all the not that he's, he's.
You got to win at Alabama. You can't have shit like that.
Yeah. I think he's ready to say, you know what? I've made a shit ton of money. I'm not a young chicken anymore. I'm getting up there in age. Let's enjoy life a little bit. Plus, I think he's going to end up on television, honestly, for a little bit. He'll get hired by some TV network. We already saw in the as a guest analyst during the national championship game last year for ESPN. So we'll see. But yeah, this will be a tough year to go out like this with no quarterback that you can count on the roster.